Escape was a community-led response, an initial response to a community of grieving and deeply affected families led by Janet Murphy, whose 16-year-old daughter Jenny had just passed away through drug poisoning. Prolonged publicity enabled Janet, her family and Jenny's friends to raise £5,000 for an awareness-raising project called Different Buzz. Local musicians, most of them with lived experience, had written their own songs, and these were performed in local schools to educate young people and prevent them from using drugs. The Journal sponsored a campaign poster depicting a young, dying Jenny at the time. In 1995, the government issued Tackling Drugs Together, which outlined plans to combat drug abuse through newly formed drug action teams set up across the country. This, along with ongoing publicity about the deaths in Northumberland, prompted action by local councils and statutory agencies to confront the drug problem and its underlying causes head-on. Recognising the need to become community-led, ensuring that local people played a central role in tackling local issues and shaping future service delivery. A comprehensive approach to community leadership was adopted to develop a shared understanding and vision for the area, as well as cross-sector commitment to bring about community change and service improvement through effective public involvement and joint working. Northumberland Health Authority, led by Jackie Axelby, Chief Executive at the time, was instrumental in this approach, as was Blythe Valley Borough Council, led by Dave Stevens. Newcastle United and Blythe Spartans played a charity football match to raise funds to help with the problem. These funds, along with drug challenge funds secured by Northumberland Health Authority, enabled Northumberland's drug action team to support the establishment and early development of 2 new charities: People and Drugs, which continues to operate at Silk's Team Bar today, and Escape Family Support, which used its share of the funds to purchase Emily Davison House in Blythe as a base for its activities. Escape appealed to members of the community for support to renovate the building. Businesses and individuals donated materials and their time to refurbish Escape's newly acquired headquarters. From 1994 to 1997, the deaths continued, with 23 young people losing their lives in southeast Northumberland during this 3-year period. It became clear that young people were taking drug cocktails which included methadone prescribed for others that was finding its way onto the streets. Methadone was a significant contributing factor to these deaths. The Health Authority acted on the emerging data to prevent more deaths by implementing the supervised methadone scheme. National publicity about the problems in Northumberland led to BBC's Panorama working with bereaved parents and local authorities to create a documentary entitled Kill or Cure. In the meantime, Escape staged a successful escape into pop drug awareness at the Wallow Cinema. In early 1998, grants from Northumberland Health Authority and a successful bid for Europe's Daphne project enabled the organisation to employ 3 full-time staff members. The criteria of the Daphne Fund broadened Escape's focus to include domestic violence, drugs and alcohol. As a result, the charity grew. It assisted those with lived experience of drug and alcohol use in establishing a user support group and provided a variety of volunteering opportunities to parents and recovering drug and alcohol users. By the end of 1998, Escape's volunteers and paid staff team had set up a 24-hour helpline, weekly group meetings, one-to-one support, home visits, an educational library and satellite offices in Berwick, Bedlington, Ashington and Cramlington. Later on, funding from Northumberland Health Action Zone supported Escape to open new satellite offices in Castle Morpeth, Alnwick, Hexham and Prudhoe to reach into rural communities and support more families. Paid staff were delivering workshops in schools to raise awareness and educate young people, and a daily drop and group support for drug and alcohol users were established. A new caravan respite facility for families was set up thanks to funding from the Lloyds TSB and Northern Rock Foundations, giving families the opportunity to take a much-needed break from their problems. The positive progress being made by Northumberland's Drug and Alcohol Partnership and Escape's community-led response led Keith Hellawell, the newly appointed anti-drugs coordinator, to visit the area during his nationwide fact-finding missions to determine best practice in January 1998. Mr. Hellawell returned to Northumberland the following year and officially opened Emily Davison House and buried a time capsule in the Escape's Millennium Garden. 2000 and 2001 was a roller coaster with disappointments when initial funds ended. However, Tudor Trust, Lloyd TSB Foundation and Greg's Trust provided significant new funds to secure the survival of Escape. Our counselling coordinator moved on and National Lottery Charities Board agreed to a change of remit, enabling the charity to employ an experienced service delivery manager, which led to the delivery of complementary therapies and other significant service developments. The charity also launched Get Ahead project to support young people to work with referrals from a local school. Escape and Ridley High School led this venture and developed a partnership with local agencies to meet these needs. Escape employed the project coordinator and delivered activities and support services to 15-year-old pupils to address their behavioural issues, substance use problems, and the impact this is having on their families, the community, and themselves. Keith Hellawell again returned to Northumberland to praise the county for its work to address drug use as methadone-related deaths had been vastly reduced through a supervised methadone scheme. He also praised the Arrest Referral Scheme, which included a pioneering rapid detox programme that Escape and North East Council on Addictions had worked in partnership with Northumbria Police to develop, which included the delivery of complementary therapies, counselling and intensive support. Going from strength to strength, Escape received its first significant award in 2001, the GlaxoSmithKline Award for Excellence in Community Healthcare Delivery. The judges were impressed with Escape's holistic approach to the problems of drug abuse and by the way it helps to alleviate the stress felt by family members. During the next 11 years, from 2002 to 2013, Escape continued to thrive, excel, and receive significant commissions and contracts. The charity had an incredible year in 2002 to 2003 and was commissioned to work with people who were completing drug testing and treatment orders, working closely in partnership with the probation service. Escape was honoured to receive the Queen's Award for Voluntary Service while celebrating its 10th anniversary in 2004. Her Majesty the Queen bestowed this honour in recognition of the vital role of volunteers in local communities. Escape secured charitable funding and launched a county-wide service for alcohol users to fill a gap in service provision. In 2006, Escape secured a contract to deliver structured daycare throughout Northumberland. The work delivered by the staff team and volunteers was widely acclaimed and was nominated as a regional team finalist in the National Tackling Drugs Changing Lives Awards, winning the title of Drug Team of the Year for the North East, thanks to the sterling work of our 24 paid staff and 18 volunteers. Also, a strategic steering group then supported our partnership with a local GP, and the Regain Alcohol Home Detoxification Project in Wansbeck was born. The GP employed nursing staff who oversaw home detoxification, with Escape delivering psychosocial support. Evaluation of the service evidenced that it worked well and recommended it should continue. Other successes in 2006 included the participation of the art project in the Eyes Open Wide 3 World AIDS Day art competition and the highly commended exhibits at the Discovery Museum. Unfortunately, when further national budget cuts began to bite in 2009, we had to close our successful art project to preserve psychosocial service provision. The next year, the charity was successful in attaining a rare second GlaxoSmithKline Award for Excellence in Community Healthcare Delivery. Escape was delighted to be presented with the Northumberland Caring for Carers Award by the Duchess of Northumberland, while Janet Murphy, Escape's Chief Executive, was awarded an MBE for services to disadvantaged people in Northumberland. With the charity continued to deliver excellent services to drug and alcohol users, their carers and families, we were nominated and shortlisted for the North East Charity Outstanding Organisation Award, as well as commissioned by the Safer Sunderland Partnership to help local carer support groups with governance and service development. In 2009, service provision was further enhanced to include an education, training and employment project, This highly successful project supported Escape's beneficiaries into education, training, volunteering, and paid work through fundamental skills provision, overachieving against all targets with 220 people demonstrating improved outcomes over the life of the project. This project was acclaimed nationally when it was runner-up in the Howard League Penal Reform Awards in 2012. Escape also delivered the Skills for Health programme. Our Skilled for Health group won the WEA Northeast Outstanding Adult Learners Award in Adult Learners Week. Escape received funding from Northumberland County Council to provide clients who were homeless, at danger of becoming homeless, or living in temporary housing with access to sustainable homes in the private rental sector. The scheme was known as the Rent Deposit Guarantee Scheme. Northumberland County Council and Escape continued to work in partnership on numerous projects and jointly were winners of a local innovations award scheme, Bright Idea, achieving more through Partnerships Award in 2010. Escape started developing its kinship care support work as it was coming across increasing numbers of people caring for grandchildren. Support for Women Around Northumberland, SWAN, was another innovative partnership project and a response to a gap in service provision. Escape was the lead agency and our partners were Relate, Fourth Action and Women's Health Advice Centre. Funded by the Ministry of Justice, the project focused on access for vulnerable women and the prevention of reoffending, and aimed to meet the needs and risks of women offenders in their community rather than in custody. An external evaluation demonstrated that the project reduced reoffending by 70%, while improving self-confidence, esteem, family relationships and parenting skills. In 2011, we did not stand still. There was an investment in a new building in Ashington to be a new hub of support and innovation. 2013 brought challenges and a significant downturn for the charity. As project funding came to an end, the closure of flagship and award-winning projects that had successfully delivered very positive outcomes, including the SWAN, ETE and Rent Deposit Guarantee Scheme, was inevitable. Further challenges were faced when Escape lost contracts during a macro commitment process in Northumberland. Although Escape applied with national partners, we lost the tendering process by a tiny margin. However, with around 80 clients who refused to transfer, Lloyds Bank Foundation funded the employment of a worker to support these people to complete their treatment journeys. Many of these were female. At the end of their treatment journeys, we finally closed referrals and ended all treatment support provisions in 2018. Charitable funders provided much needed grants to secure Escape's future outside of the commissioned treatment system. Community fundraising played a big part in Escape's survival when we opened a charity shop in Blythe selling children's clothes and toys. The shop provided access to much needed, affordable, good quality clothing and toys for families. Escape completed a £300,000 refurbishment of the Susan Kennedy Centre, which was opened in October 2014 by Sir John Hall. Escape began to deliver a new programme called CRAFT, Community Reinforcement Approach for Family Training, introduced to support carers and family members to the day. CRAFT equips concerned significant others with support techniques to encourage their loved ones to begin and continue treatment, and provides family members with better coping strategies. In 2016, Escape welcomed Jackie Axelby as the chair of the Board of Trustees, and the inclusion of 4 new trustees greatly reinforced the board. Although 2016 and 17 featured several successes, the organisation's financial challenges meant difficult decisions had to be taken. The most difficult being the sale of Emily Davison House, our Blythe headquarters, which had been home to the charity. The charity consolidated in the newly refurbished Susan Kennedy Centre in Ashington, which has been our headquarters ever since. At the time, CEO and founder Janet Murphy sought voluntary redundancy in order to preserve frontline services and staffing. Janet joined the Board of Trustees and continues to serve as CEO on a full-time voluntary basis. Sarah Tannick, our Deputy CE, responsible for service delivery, joined Escape as Service Delivery Manager. In In 2017, the charity decided it was time to refocus priorities and return to its roots, providing support to families and carers who are affected by addiction to alcohol and drugs. Unfortunately, further staff redundancies and budget efficiencies had to be done to ensure sustainability. Plans were shaped and formulated by carers, peer mentors, volunteers, staff and trustees. Escape was commissioned and worked on the Supporting Families programme for 2 years, with all targets being met. Escape also introduced Teen Triple P Positive Parenting programme for parents of teenagers as a new service. In the summer of 2019, our new caravan funded by NCC was officially opened, while in December 2019, Escape secured a significant national lottery grant to enable the development of a Family Champions programme and a Young People's Pilot project it had planned to deliver. The coronavirus pandemic presented an unanticipated challenge to Escape and the whole UK population early 2020. Nobody knew what a significant and long-lasting impact the virus would have. Despite the National Lottery project starting at the onset of the COVID pandemic, Escape has achieved all project targets to date. Over 400 telephone reassessment calls were delivered during lockdowns to ensure that families received the support they needed. Our provision, delivering services by telephone and online throughout. The team was determined that service delivery would be as unaffected as possible. Volunteers completed 4,153 hours of work in 2020 and 2021, despite the COVID restrictions and a lockdown, and a doorstep challenge was undertaken to ensure that the achievements of volunteers and family champions who had completed accredited qualifications were celebrated. Also, a virtual art project took place for Carers Week, and during Christmas, Mrs. Claus and her Christmas helpers distributed Christmas presents. Everyone joined on Facebook tracking Mrs. Claus and her team as they posted pictures when dropping the presents for families. During 2020 and 21, 10 new family champions were recruited and trained, followed by 11 more the following year, and the family champions have been invaluable in supporting the team to deliver services. Our Young People Pilot project also started at the onset of the pandemic. We knew that the young people we work with have been affected by a variety of adverse childhood experiences, including poverty, neglect, emotional and/or physical abuse, exposure to domestic violence, the imprisonment of a parent, mental ill health within the family, their own mental health difficulties, and taking on care and responsibilities. Parents of the young people we work with have frequently experienced ACEs and require therapeutic support to recover and understand how their experiences affect their parenting. We decided to deliver ACE for adults and young people and raise funds to train the training and volunteer coordinator and the advanced practitioner for young people and families. Delivering the Adult ACEs programme alongside the Young People ACE allows for the delivery of comprehensive family support and interventions. By providing interventions with both young people and adults, we are working to help break the cycle of harm within the families we work with. Escape held an away day during summer 2022 with carers, family champions, volunteers, staff and trustees all attending and contributing, focusing on the future of the charity. These stakeholders all contributed to Escape's new vision, mission, values, and priorities. Throughout the lifetime of Escape Family Support, it is always invested in all of its people. The charity first achieved Investor in People standard in 2003. Then new graded standards were introduced and Escape gained Investor in People Gold standard in 2010. The charity held this gold standard continuously from 2010 until March 2022, when it was successful in achieving a Rare Investor in People Platinum standard.